Welcome, fellow Taoists, back to 1991 Review. Do you know to what extent the heaven-defying destruction ability of the disciple from Grand Ruins, Qin Mu, has reached? After leaving the mortal world of Grand Ruins and stepping into Tai Academy, his repeated actions forcing the scholar's residents to undergo closed-door maintenance are easily dismissed, and even his sweeping of the Lulon Golden Palace, looting the spiritual treasures, and using sleeping poison on several mountain ranges in the border region can only be considered excusable behavior. However, immediately after his inauguration as the Saint Master of the Heavenly Saint cult, this little rascal Qin Mu immediately caused the three heavenly kings to worry and sweat profusely, barely keeping up with cleaning the battlefields he created. In the end, how much havoc did Qin the Destroyer wreak upon the Heavenly Saint cult? If you are curious about this heavenly calamity, let's find out the details right now. After the inauguration grand ceremony concluded, all high-ranking officials of the Heavenly Saint cult retreated, leaving only the three heavenly kings guarding the mountain gate. The problem was that Qin Mu had not yet comprehended the teleportation technique and could not leave St. Lin Mountain. To be the Saint Master yet have to open his mouth to ask his subordinates to help him instantaneous movement was too humiliating. So Qin Mu decided to self-study the teleportation divine ability. Unfortunately, his current arithmetic foundation was insufficient to load the skill. After some thought, Qin Mu decided, if I can't comprehend the skill, I will forge a spiritual treasure. Thus, he was determined to forge a teleportation treasure. Lacking spiritual materials, Qin Mu ripped up the rare golden silkworm silk robe he was wearing, pulling out dozens of golden threads to weave the formation patterns. He was extremely confident in this sewing skill because he had been taught by Granny C since childhood. While Qin Mu was farming for gear, in another corner, the three heavenly kings were chuckling inwardly. They believed the teleportation technique was the supreme art of the Saint cult, requiring an extremely profound arithmetic foundation, and Qin Mu was just young and inexperienced, surely unable to break through. The conspiracy that the founding master had discussed with the three heavenly kings was, just let Qin Mu Lun bitterly cultivate. On his own, he would spend 10 days struggling because he couldn't comprehend the divine ability. Then he would spend another 10 days because he couldn't forge the spiritual treasure. After this continuous failure, the arrogant nature of this young cult master would be polished. When he became frustrated, the three heavenly kings would appear as experienced seniors, bestowing upon him a teleportation banner, and then let him descend the mountain. Truly a perfect script. Just as everyone was nodding in approval, praising the founding master's plan as being too cunning, Qin Mu brazenly walked out of flickering light hall. He put on the brocade robe he had just forged, and in the blink of an eye, he disappeared. Before the three heavenly kings could understand what had happened, a world-shaking explosion sounded. Phoenix Forest Pavilion, where the sixth-generation cult master hosted the Phoenix, was half collapsed. Qin Mu scrambled out of rubble, looked around and saw no one, then hastily donned the teleportation robe again. This time, the roof of the Three Kings Hall, shrine dedicated to the three cult masters who sacrificed themselves to the cult, was pierced with a huge hole, and Qin Mu fell straight from the sky. The three heavenly kings, who were already petrified, now truly turned pale-faced. Destroying the Phoenix Forest Pavilion was bad enough. Now he's destroying the Three Kings Hall too. Seeing this, one heavenly king shouted loudly, "Saint Master, little ancestor, stop right there." Saying so, the three immediately activated their own teleportation treasures and rushed after him. A badly executed chase began. Three professional teleportation masters chased after a newbie who had just started practicing. As a result, the three missed, flew straight into the fish pond, and were nearly devoured by the fierce dragonfish. Fortunately, they quickly flew up, but again only caught Qin Mu's afterimage. Yet, their Saint Master still didn't stop. As the three continued to chase, they teleported themselves to be stuck tightly inside several ancient trees. When they finally got out, they saw Qin Mu was also stuck. He was rigidly stuck to a cycad tree and was out of mana. After rescuing Qin Mu and scolding him severely, the heavenly kings realized that the founding master's polishing plan had completely failed. At this time, Master Heavenly King quickly covered up and said, "Actually, the founding master kept you here not to learn teleportation, but to want you to calm your mind and comprehend the unified cultivation technique." Qin Mu heard this, immediately gained enlightenment, thanked him, and went to find the sage's stone to meditate. The three heavenly kings sighed in relief, but also had to reluctantly go work as masons, repairing the two halls that were destroyed, and even having to find someone to forge a handwriting of the sixth-generation cult master. They bitterly realized the founding master absolutely did not anticipate this heaven-defying scenario. Just like that, a few peaceful days passed. Qin Mu meditated for more than 10 days and started to feel bored. He thought to himself, eating spiritual fruits is too bland. Today I must eat meat to supplement. So, the troublemaker Qin Mu invited Hulinger, Fox Spirit, to hunt a muntjac to roast. After eating his fill, Qin Mu stood up to stroll and aid digestion. He started to casually practice martial arts and unintentionally entered a state of Tao enlightenment. He consecutively performed all the martial arts and divine abilities he knew, from the Thunder Sound 8 forms, mace techniques, sword techniques, blade techniques, then switched to the Traveling Rain art, Rushing Thunder Flame fire art, for spirits art, 7 creation spells, and even the Great Desire Heavenly Demon Scripture cultivation technique. Suddenly he understood why bother with rigid rules. Act straightforwardly, follow nature. Thus, he decided to use the Hegemon Body 3 Dawn technique as the root, and then use all the spells and divine abilities of the Heavenly Demon Cult as the branches and leaves. In no time, Qin Mu had created his own unified cultivation technique. This Tao enlightenment caused an enormous commotion. The sounds of thunder, lightning, blade light, and sword shadows made the entire St. Lin Mountain forest desolate. Trees fell flat, and explosions were constant. The 3 heavenly kings rushed out in panic, fearing he would destroy the St. Pine and Cypress tree. But they froze when they saw Qin Mu casually mixing and using demon cult skills, orthodox skills, and even Buddhist skills. The 3 men were choked and wide-eyed at this monstrous speed of comprehension. Lu, Heavenly King, looked at the destroyed forest and couldn't help but exclaim, "Heavens, this scene is only seen when the Tao sect and Great Thunder Sound Temple invade." Yet, it still didn't stop there. After Qin Mu achieved Tao enlightenment, he got hungry again. He and the fox continued to roast the muntjac meat. After eating half of it, he felt a little sick of it. Hu Linger then maliciously suggested, "Young master, those dragonfish in the pond look very plump." Qin Mu agreed and replied, "I think so too, but I can't defeat them." "Oh!" But Grandfather Apothecary said, "If you can't defeat them, poison them." Right at that moment, the 3 heavenly kings, faces as black as a soot-covered pot, appeared behind them. Master Heavenly King smiled kindly and said, "Cult Master, those dragonfish were kept as pets by the 16th generation Cult Master." Jade Heavenly King, while casually taking a bite of the muntjac meat, exclaimed, "This meat is delicious. If I didn't know this was a muntjac released by Granny C, I would have eaten it too." Qin Mu's face darkened. Lu Heavenly King immediately added, "The 1,000-year-old cycad forest that the Cult Master just destroyed was planted by the old ancestor. The Sacred Heart Flower was picked. The sesame oil in the Heavenly Beast Tower was secretly drunk. The 9-leaf spirit Ganoderma on the ancient medicinal tree was gnawed off, and the jade beads on the screen also disappeared without a trace." As he spoke, the 3 heavenly kings glared at Hu Linger. Hearing this, Qin Mu coughed twice, stood up and said, "3 heavenly kings. I suddenly remembered I am still a scholar at Tai Academy. Skipping too many classes is not good. I have decided to leave St. Lin Mountain today." The 3 heavenly kings sighed in relief and replied, "Oh, is the Cult Master leaving? Studies are important. We dare not keep you. St. Lin Mountain is your home. Cult Master must frequently return to visit." Not long after, Qin Mu felt it had mastered the technique. So he hugged the fox, jumped off St. Lin Mountain, donned the robe, and disappeared. The 3 heavenly kings hurriedly ran to the edge of the mountain to look down. Jade Heavenly King used his azure blood eyes to observe and suddenly exclaimed, "The Saint Master has reached the edge of the minor lightning forbidden zone." Suddenly, Lu Heavenly King shouted in alarm, "Wait! 2 senior brothers! Did you tell the Saint Master that there's a death lightning zone outside St. Lin Mountain?" Jade Heavenly King and Master Heavenly King looked at each other and couldn't help but sweat profusely. They realized that if Qin Mu flew into that zone, he might become the Saint Master with the shortest tenure in the history of the Heavenly Saint Cult. The 3 hastily rushed into the lightning zone to save him and were immediately struck by lightning, leaving their faces charred black. At the same time, outside the forbidden zone, Qin Mu appeared in a safe place and sighed in relief. That lightning zone is truly dangerous. Fortunately, I used the Azure Heaven Divine Eye to see it and immediately teleported out. Oh, it seems there are people inside that lightning zone. Before he could look closely, he fell downwards. The 3 heavenly kings in tatters rushed out, only to see that Qin Mu had disappeared far away. They realized that St. Lin Mountain was currently drifting over Guazhou, and Guazhou was in rebellion. Jade Heavenly King said worriedly, "I only hope the Saint Master does not fall into the middle of the battlefield." Qin Mu's journey of destruction at St. Lin Mountain also ends here. However, that is still not the limit of Thief Mu. If you are curious about the next developments, please subscribe to the 1991 Review YouTube channel to get the latest updates, everyone. Now, goodbye and see you again, fellow Taoists.